I think I can safely speak for most of us and say that we've all kind of gotten comfortable playing life safe. During COVID, we were all locked up in quarantine. We didn't really have opportunities to go out, take risks. And at least for me, I know I got comfortable just sitting at home, grinding Fortnite, working on my YouTube. Well, by the end of this video, I hope I help you gain courage to take risks in Fortnite, in life, in hobbies, everything. Taking risks is key to being happy, to being successful, everything. But before we hop into it, please consider using code JivanTV in the Fortnite item shop, and just know, I stream on Twitch almost every day. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So let me just start out by saying, throughout my life, I've never gone for something and regretted it as much as the times I didn't go for something. Sure, there's been times where I've gone for something and felt bad afterwards just because it didn't go the way I planned, but anytime that I don't go for something, whether it be going to talk to a girl or going to try out for this team, whatever it is, those are always going to be the moments you regret most in life. And if you get in the habit of not going for something because it's more comfortable to stay put, let me just say life is going to become so stale. And the more comfortable you get not going for things that you really want, the more scared you're going to become to go for things in the future. This could apply to anything, whether it's starting a new hobby or pushing a current hobby to the next level. Let's say you're a painter and you've been painting for so long, you have so many paintings stored up, but you're scared to put your work out there, maybe go to an art convention or start an online shop. The longer you wait to put it out there, the more scared you're going to become. Maybe you're thinking your artwork's just not there yet. You want to keep crafting it for a while longer until you're really confident in it. Well, that could go on for years and years and years, and you could end up being like 50 and still not have put your artwork out there. So I say, just go for it, dude. I've been a painter for a little while. I've put my artwork out on social media, but I haven't really tried to sell much, and I'm actually going to start getting into that really soon. It's better to go for it rather than just sit in the dark and keep that hobby of yours locked up. Anyways, that's just one example, but another example obviously is like talking to a girl or a guy that you like. I can speak from personal experience here. So back in middle school, I had just moved across the country. I was around brand new people and I made friends with these guys, and they would just be going up and talking to every single girl, and that just wasn't me back in the day. And so I asked for advice, and I was like, bro, I get so nervous talking to girls, but you're going around talking to literally every single girl you see. How do you do it? And he was like, dude, I know what you mean because I used to be like that. Really, you just got to force yourself to do it a few times, and then it'll just get easier and easier the more girls you talk to. And so if you feel like you're stuck in a place where you can't even talk to any girls, you just got to slowly work your way up. Push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit at a time, and it'll get easier and easier, and then you'll be able to get further and further out of your comfort zone. And eventually, if you keep pushing, it'll just become second nature to you and you won't have any nerves anymore. I know anxiety plays a big part in this, but a lot of anxiety is from sitting in that comfort zone where you're not taking any risks, you're not stepping out. Let me just say, during COVID, I lived with my parents and I wasn't allowed to go out with friends, not even my closest friends. And so I didn't get any social interaction for over a year, basically. So all those nerves that I had back in middle school when I didn't know how to talk to girls kind of came back because I had gotten comfortable just staying in my comfort zone. So all I've been doing is trying to slowly work my way back out there, and things are starting to get back to the way they were. I had a lot of anxiety at first because I hadn't gone out in a long time, but it was all about building up that courage again and getting used to it. So if you're feeling that way, trust me, take my advice, just work your way out of it slowly. Try to figure out what little steps you can take to get to the next stage, and then you can take more steps and more steps until you feel confident in public and talking to people. And if one of your biggest things is you don't even know how to talk to girls, bro, go on YouTube and watch some of those how do you have a conversation videos. It'll give you talking points and you can just go off that. It's pretty simple, honestly. I've tried some of the stuff in those videos. Just simple talking points can make conversations really interesting. The best part about getting out there and meeting new people is that you experience new perspectives with every person you meet. You could dive into their hobbies, their activities. Back in the day, one of my friends asked me to go rock climbing, and it became a major hobby of mine in high school. Through that activity, I met dozens of new people. I ended up getting a rock climbing membership. I would go to that place all the time. I met a ton of new people, and it all stemmed from starting a conversation with this one person. One of the biggest things I recommend is trying out new hobbies, because a lot of times you'll learn so much about yourself By simply testing out new hobbies. A couple examples are, say you start editing a Fortnite montage and you had never done any video editing before. You might discover that you really like video editing. You could go to school for that and eventually start video editing for companies or for movies, whatever. Or you could be like me. I started video editing on Fiverr as a part-time job while I was in college, and I made some money doing that, and on top of it, I built the skills I needed to start up my YouTube channel. Another example is I started trying to do creative writing in college, and I actually started working on a book. I never actually finished it, but I might one day. Maybe you try out creative writing and you discover that you really like it, you start up a blog, and you become a professional blogger. Like, it's just a random example, but that's what testing out new hobbies can do. It can unlock new parts of yourself, unlock future opportunities, little side hustles. So I really recommend just testing out a bunch of different things. Another example is painting. I'm starting up an online paint shop because one day I randomly picked up a paintbrush. I always thought I would hate painting, but look where that got me. I just picked up a paintbrush and now I'm gonna be selling paintings years later. If you do want to try out new hobbies, literally all you gotta do is search up tutorials on YouTube. I'm sure you did the same thing for Fortnite, but you could do it for literally anything. Even if your hobby was like learning about a certain science in more detail, you could just look up tutorials on YouTube and become a professional scientist. I'm just kidding, but you could learn a lot. So that's one way to take a risk in the hobby field, but another thing that actually goes a long way is trying out new things within hobbies, taking risks and pushing yourself to limits that you didn't know. So I've made a few tutorials on Fortnite about taking risks, stepping out of your comfort zone, for example, taking more fights some games, or dedicating a whole tourney towards experimenting with new strategies. That's one way you can take risks in your hobbies, but another example is with painting. I took a major risk one day while painting, and it made my best painting ever. So my paintings were like, alright, they were pretty mediocre, but one day I decided I wanted to try using way more paint on my paintings. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is an example of my old paintings. You know, that's really flat. But then one day I decided I wanted to try throwing tons of paint and tons of color into my paintings, making it way more abstract. And this is the outcome. There's a lot more texture to it, and it looks just way better, way more unique. And I unlocked my painting art style. Simply because I took a risk one day, I just threw on tons of paint just to experiment and see what the outcome would be. Another example is you're a basketball player. You know, you're doing the same thing every day. You take a risk, you learn a super advanced move just for fun, but one day during like a game with your friends or something, you try out the move and you absolutely break their ankles. Or you could absolutely fail, but you don't know until you take those risks. Now, last thing I should mention is don't go too far with taking risks because you can get yourself in trouble. You gotta draw the line between a healthy risk and just a stupid one. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, sub if you're new, use code JivanTV, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.